sissy, go sissy. Hey sissy, go sissy. Hey sissy,
peace to the haters. Bye,
sissy.
see you later.
Hey,
You my
sissy.
road dog,
Go,
sis,
sissy.
we are greater.
Hey,
Holding
sissy.
it down,
Go,
and you know we stay
sissy.
true.
Hey,
Fam
sissy.
to the end
Go,
is how we
sissy.
do.
Hey,
Fam to the
sissy.
end
Go,
is how we
sissy.
do.
Hey,
Fam to the
sissy.
end
Go,
is how we
sissy.
do.
Hey sissy, go sissy. Hey sissy, go sissy. Go, 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 go.
We the bomb, let's go, sissy.
Hey.
We the bomb, let's go, sissy.
Hey.
We the bomb, let's go, sissy.
Hey. What's groovy, y'all? I'm Danye.
And I'm Marcia, and this is the
Hey Sissy Podcast. Thanks to everyone who's been tuning in to our podcast. We really appreciate it, and we're super excited because today we're going to be talking about relationships. And if you checked out our blog from yesterday, then you'll see that we went to an event at the Shift Christian Lounge where they had a panel talking about relationships. It was really, really nice. If you haven't had a chance to check out our vlog, definitely go check that out to get a little inside look of pretty much what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, and so they asked some really great questions on the panel, and so we took note of some of those questions and wanted to talk about them on the podcast.
So you ready?
Let's do this.
Relationships.
So the first question is, what do you believe is the definition of a godly relationship? And so one of the panelists said that a godly relationship is when you put more reverence in God than you do in your spouse. Because sometimes people don't do things for fear of their spouse. And then someone else says it's not doing the most to get chose. It's like basically people be trying to like be extra to either get a spouse or please their spouse, but they don't work as hard to try to please God, and that should be your goal.
Right.
So what do you think a godly relationship is?
That's pretty much it. Godly relationship is when you put God in everything, and y'all decision making, and y'all finances, how to handle your children. That's pretty much a godly relationship when you put God in everything.
Yeah.
And God defined love for us.
Yes.
And so if we go to God and ask him, okay, God, how should I love my wife? How should I love my husband? You know, the person who is the creator of love, the definer of love, then he will reveal to us how to love.
Correct. And I think another interesting thing that one of the panelists said, and he said it later on in the night, was basically that even when you're arguing, keep God in it. He was like, because a lot of times people argue to win, but he's like, that's not the goal. You're on the same team, you and your spouse. So your goal should not be to win, but your goal should make sure that your marriage survives that relationship. So then in that moment, of course it's gonna take practice. Pray to God to where y'all can work this situation out without it ending in like bloodshed, quote unquote.
Another thing I like, you had said that some people do the most to get chose. And the lady, she was saying how she has to position herself in order to be, you don't have to be seen or be chose. If you are doing what you need to do for God, then you're going to be in that position to be seen by your husband or by your wife.
Yes. So speaking of, the next question is, how do you know when you have found the one? And so I'm already married, but for you, how will you know that you found the one?
I feel like everything just falls into place. We all know when you like somebody, you know, you just kind of know when you love somebody. So everything will kind of just fall into place, and then that will just go back to the place where how much of God is in the relationship. If God is like the head of both of our lives and how we treat each other and conduct our day-to-day and our business, then, you know, that will be like, okay, this person is like, okay, you the one right there, okay. So yeah, I think,
Yeah, and so I knew that Morris was the one because of how he treated me, how his family was, how they interacted with each other, how he interacted with his family, and his faith in God. So I mean, it's just like, I was just like, I'm gonna marry you. So he said he knew I was the one like years before I knew. And it wasn't because like I was just like, boy, whatever. I didn't live here. I didn't live in the same city as him. But it's just like when he first met me, a lot of people say that. Dudes say when they first meet a woman, they know she's going to be the one they marry. But women be like, I guess maybe because we don't trust men or we jaded or whatever, we just be like, let me see. Let me scope you off a little bit. But, after about 3 months of dating, I was like, I'm going to marry that dude. I like him. He the one. So, yeah, and I think it's just knowing, as long as you know who God is and you trust God to pick your spouse, you'll know the one when you see them and you'll know the one when you interact with them. It's not our job to find our spouse. It's our job to trust God to find them for us.
Right.
All right. Should single women approach men? This was kind of an interesting question at the panel. What do you think?
Comment down below what y'all think, because a lot of people think men always have to approach the woman.
Yes.
I think it's okay for a woman to approach the man.
I think there's a tactful way to do it as a woman, to where it's not direct.
I think you should just be direct. Well, be smooth about it, but be direct at the same time. Meaning, like, if you see a dude that you kind of feeling and you want to get to know him, maybe at an event or something, kind of just like start a regular casual conversation,
and that's
move forward from there. Don't go up like, hey, what's up with you, or like this and the third. You know, hey, how you doing? How's your day? I seen this. I really like that. Can I know more about, something like that.
And that's what I mean by like not direct. By direct, I would think like just walk up to the dude, like, hey son, you real cute. Can I get your number? Don't do that. But more so, I think in this day and age, some guys may be a little hesitant to approach women because they don't want to be put on blast or whatever the case may be. So it's like, if you want to show that you're interested in a certain person, say hi to them. Be like, or you can compliment them. Be like, I like your shirt, and just keep it moving. And he picks up, he picks up. So just basically to show that you are like available or that you're interested. So you can talk to them first,
right?
But you may not be directly being like, let me get that number.
And also, like, don't be afraid to talk to men, because there's a stigma that men have to approach women. I mean, we are in 2019 and things are a little different now. So it's okay for women to approach men, because you may see a man that you're interested in, and it's not that he may not have noticed you. He could be busy, he could be doing something else, or wherever the case may be, and you don't want to miss your opportunity because you want him to approach you. It's all right if you approach a man, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and I think a lot of women are hesitant to approach men because of the scripture, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And it's like, just because you approach the other person doesn't mean that he's not finding you, because he still has to recognize if you're his wife or not and still choose you to be his wife. But it's like, once you're trying to like force a man to marry you, then he's not choosing you choosing him.
No, yeah, then that's different. Yeah.
That's different. So it's like, you can still approach someone and they still choose you for their wife, and he is still finding a good thing.
Yes, that's very true.
All right, if you don't approach a man, then what should a woman do to get noticed? If you like, I ain't approaching no man, that's not how I'm doing it. If he want me, he got to come to me. So then it's like, y'all can comment below too. How do you let someone know you're interested without, directly talking to them?
How to let somebody know that you're interested without directly talking to them?
Yes.
I don't really know. I mean, you could try to like, maybe take one of his friends or something like that, or her friends.
Take them?
Not take them.
I was like, what are you doing?
I mean, like, if you may, I don't really know, because.
So some people will say like, you smile or you look at them, but that can also just be interpreted as being polite.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, brush up against them or something. I don't know. I wouldn't even know, honestly.
I don't know, honestly. You just make your presence known. I guess you could say just make your presence known.
So the next question is, what is love? And so three of the panelists, they gave 3 definitions. And basically, they said that love is discipline, action, and a decision. And if you all know, the Bible talks about what is love, and that's in 1 Corinthians 13, and it's like verse 4 through 13. And like, if you didn't know, very briefly, the Bible says love is patient and kind, is not jealous or conceited or proud. Love is not ill-mannered or selfish or irritable. Love does not keep a record of wrongs. And that's like a pretty good, like, basic definition of love. But do you want to add anything to that?
Like you were saying, love is a discipline, action, and decision. Love is not an emotion. It's not an emotion. So love is all action. It's an attitude, pretty much. Because love is going above and beyond. Love is going through the trials and tribulations with somebody. Because if love was a feeling, then when somebody did us wrong in a marriage or whatever, if somebody did something to upset us, we probably would not feel love anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's not a feeling, it's an action.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not ill-mannered. So anything that somebody does to you that is to tear you down, hurt your character, physically hurt you, emotionally, any kind of abuse, that's not love.
Yeah, love's not petty either. It's not vengeful. You don't do things like out of spite to get back at your spouse. I think oftentimes if you don't go into marriage in the right way, or you forget like the goal of marriage, you forget that y'all are on the same team. Like I've been hearing that a lot this year, because I think it's an important thing that people forget. You're on the same team. So if you love your spouse, which is an action and a decision, you've decided that I'm gonna love this person, I'm gonna love them each day through this marriage, then you're not gonna be intentionally harmful and hurting that person.
Right, and like you were saying, how the Bible says it doesn't hold a record of your wrongdoings. When someone does something wrong in a marriage, or when you're in that place of going to marriage and you love someone and they do something, you're not gonna constantly hold it over their head or hold it against them or keep a record of it, pretty much. You have to be able to forgive that person and move forward.
Yeah, because if you going tit for tat, or you're steady bringing up the stuff they did in the past, if they apologize for it and y'all talked it through, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Because it doesn't do anything but just cause more and more tears in your marriage, or even in your relationship. If you're in a relationship, you don't even have to be married, but just practice loving your spouse in your relationship. But like Diane said, as long as you're not, being abused, if they do something to make you upset, of course, it's two people living together. Y'all gonna argue and not always like each other, be annoyed by each other. But the goal is to continue to love that person and act out that love, show your love.
And don't ever feel like, if you are getting abused in a relationship or a marriage, don't ever feel like you deserve it.
Oh no.
Or that that is love. Because where it doesn't say in the Bible that a person can put their hands on you or mentally or emotionally abuse you and still love you. Because love is not ill-mannered, and that's an ill manner. So don't try to convince yourself that that person loves you because they're nice every so often. They do this every so often. Anything that tears you down, especially spiritually and in your soul, nah, you need to let that person go. Seriously. Cut them off. And of course, anything is easier said.
You and this, cut them off.
Anything is easier said than done.
It is.
But you have to really make that decision. Is this person for my life? Yeah,
because some people grow up with their parents abusing them. So it's like, if your first introduction to love is abuse, then you do think that is love. Because you don't have any better examples.
Right.
And that's why we all need to get help and of course therapy to work through these things, because people are people. And so it's like, people don't always know how to love in the best ways.
That's why I think, I don't think this is one of our questions, but I think it is important to really try to have yourself together before you even decide to get in any kind of relationships with anybody. A lot of times, of course, we all have our insecurities, we all have our past that we dealt with, but I think a lot of times, two broken people trying to get into a marriage or a relationship and trying to fill in each other's insecurities or problems don't do nothing but make them elevate. You know what I'm saying? They don't even out, they don't level out, they don't compensate. They make things worse. Mm-hmm. And they can leave you more hurt and broken before you even started.
Yeah, because a lot of people who do grow up in broken homes, mm-hmm. they try to go and find the love they didn't have growing up in a relationship, and because you don't know what a good, loving relationship looks like, you just find the same people like your family. So it's a cycle. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so woosah. Try to like learn what real love is before you try to go looking for it.
And take your time again in relationships. Don't rush into a relationship. When you get out of a relationship, take time to mend from that relationship, from that pain, from that hurt. Goes back to one of our previous podcasts on getting therapy, finding out what stemmed from it, what made it broken, what made y'all break up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I always use the analogy of cake.
Okay.
You start off as a whole cake. But then when you continue giving pieces of yourself to people without giving yourself time to rebake, you present yourself as pieces, and eventually there's not going to be any of you left for that person to take. And so you're just...
Eventually all you have is crumbs.
Yes, you're empty.
That was a good analogy.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Yeah, because if you don't take time to rebuild yourself, all you can give... You're the one you think is the one, all they get is crumbs because you've given yourself out so much and you didn't have time to build yourself back up. Yeah, that was a good analogy.
Thank you.
Kudos.
Oh, wait, let me say this real quick.
Go ahead.
If y'all are young, relax. Y'all don't need to be in a relationship right now. It's not important.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of times as parents and as adults, we think it's cute and funny. Oh, is that your little boyfriend? Is that your little girlfriend? We're teaching them how to kiss and hug and do all of this stuff at a young age.
Do people still do that?
They do.
Aww.
I know. And I think we should let kids be kids because they grow up having these little boyfriends and girlfriends. And a lot of times as parents, we don't sit down and talk to our kids about this is what it is, this is what you're feeling, this is how it goes.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of the mindsets that we have are like 100-year-old mindsets.
Yes.
So it's like, back in the day when people only lived to be 30, yeah, you had to get married and have kids at 14, 15 years old because you didn't have a long lifespan. But it's like nowadays we live until we 80, and so it's like you don't have to get married in your 20s. Like a lot of people are like, oh my God, okay, I gotta get married in 20s and have kids and this and do all these things by like a timeline. And it's like you don't. You really don't. And it's stressing a lot of people out because it's like if some people feel like they're not married by 30, then like they're running out of time and they start getting stressed out and they start like trying to force relationships just so they can get married because they feel like they're missing out on something. I mean, it's better to wait and find the right person than to find any person.
Right.
Okay, next question. Is there a time frame on how soon you can get engaged and how long is too long?
I don't think there's a time frame. What I mean by that is when y'all know, and I think y'all will be on one accord. You know what I'm saying? Like you and your husband, y'all both knew because even though y'all didn't verbally express it, y'all both knew like, hey, this is the one, this is the person I'm gonna marry. So I think through the relationship, when you get that realization in your mind that this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, y'all will be on one accord. So when you're asked to be married, then you will be like, yes, I want to marry you. I think that if one person is not ready to be married and another person is, then that relationship should be terminated. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to sit around and wait for that person to be ready.
I don't think you should be like, it's done, son.
Yeah.
What do you mean by Lawrence and I didn't verbally express when we decided to get married?
You said 3 months in, you was like, he's the one I want to marry. Did you tell him that? Or did you just had it in your mind like, okay, he's the one I want to marry?
I don't know if I told him that, but I definitely told Tiffany. I was like, I'm going to marry that dude. And then I think about 6 months into our relationship, I guess, we did talk about it. And then he started planning to move to Austin and everything. So we did kind of make up our minds fairly early and then put like people like to say, the wheels in motion to get married. So it definitely needs to be a discussion. Also, if you're in a relationship, I wouldn't say be so quick to break up with them because they may not be ready to get married. Find out why they're not ready to get married. Because some people put off marriage, even though they know they want to be with someone, they may put it off to finish school. Or they may put it off until they feel like they're financially ready or more stable. But that's a discussion you need to have.
Right.
It's like if you're ready to get married and you tell them, hey, I think we're heading in the direction of marriage. What do you think? And they're like, yeah, I do. But I think we should wait. You know, ask, why do you think we should wait? And then don't be mad at the answer. If it's a legit answer, like, well, I want to do this, that, and the other, okay. But if they vague about it, then maybe you should consider breaking up. If you're like, I want to get married, what do you think? Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, how soon do you think? You know, let's just play it by ear. No. No.
Yeah. I think too long was like 5 years.
Like I said, I think it depends on the situation.
You think it depends?
I think it depends. I don't think there's too short. If y'all are on one accord, like you said, y'all agree, like, this is what we want to do, let's do this. I don't think there's a too short. I also don't think there's a too long because it depends on the relationship. Also, they've done this study that, like, for the first 2 years of people's relationships, they're in kind of like this, like, love high. And so they don't really actually see and know the person they're with. They just filled up with endorphins. And so it looked real good. Like, everything they do, you know, they don't have no flaws. You're not irritated by nothing they do. They just a person for you. And then it's like, for some reason, after 18 months to 2 years, that stuff starts to wear off. And you be like, do I know you? I don't know. I don't think there's too long. I think at least waiting 2 years is okay. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Some people be like 5, 6, 7 years maybe, but it also depends on people, you know?
I think that's kind of long because it's like, at this point, what are we waiting on? Because it's like, it don't matter if y'all together 10 years before y'all get married, a person still will be different in that marriage. So I feel like just prolonging it is like, what is the purpose of prolonging it? You know?
You shouldn't be different in your marriage than you were in your relationship.
But that happens. For some reason, when it's a marriage, you learn stuff about that person that you, for some reason, did not encounter in that time that y'all were.
Well, because you're never going to know everything about a person.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying, what is the purpose of prolonging the engagement? If it, like you said, maybe 2-3 years, cool. But after that, it's like, okay, why are we pushing it back so much? What's the holdup?
It's between them. I mean, honestly, truly, like, that's why I feel like you can't dictate when someone should get married, how long they should be engaged. It's between them. Some people wait until, like, they may be like, well, you know, I want to, you know, finish school or get all these degrees or become a doctor or whatever the case may be. And it's like, you know you can't commit to your marriage fully at this moment, wait. And if the other person, if y'all like, okay, we gonna get married, but let's just wait until we in a better situation, and y'all serious about that, if it take 5, 6, 7 years, that's between y'all.
Well, what y'all think? How long do y'all think is a such thing as too long, too short of an engagement, or what y'all think? Comment down below.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts. Okay, so how do you stay content with being single? I'll let you answer first, and then I'll give my thoughts on when I was single.
All right, I stay content being single because I'm focused on myself and my future. I want to build myself up first, make sure I'm mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in a place to deal with somebody else. Because when you're with someone else, it requires a lot of time and energy and investment being with someone else.
True.
And for me personally right now, I'm not ready to give that. And when I am, I still want to make sure I'm in a place to be able to do that, to love that person wholly, to make sure I'm in the right place with God spiritually, to make sure I'm a whole person. You feel me? There's still maybe some things I'm dealing with, but I want to make sure my mind is as intact as possible when I go into a relationship.
Amen.
So I think how people can be content being single is, like the guy said that when we went to the event, is figure out why you aren't content. Why do you feel like you need to be in a relationship? Why do you feel like you can't be alone, you have to be with somebody? So figure that out. Go to therapy, talk about it, get to the root of that issue.
Yeah.
And then I think another thing of how you can stay content being single is loving yourself.
Yes.
Spending time with yourself, doing things with yourself. When you learn to love yourself and learn how to have fun alone, be alone, that's how you know you're content. Like, of course of course in the future I wouldn't mind getting married, starting a family stuff, but right now I'm okay being single because I'm on my grind, I'm on my move. I'm trying to build a life to like kind of set up my life now for my future. Yeah. I think that's another way to be content being single is like, okay, hey, I'm preparing myself for that future, for that family, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and I think everything you said is correct because when I was single, I was a serial dater for a little bit, talking to a couple of dudes, just, you know, playing around. But then at some point I was just like, all right, I'm ready to get ready for my husband. Like, real talk, I made a decision. I was like, I'm ready to get ready for my husband. I was in grad school, so I had stopped talking to all these little dudes. I had like been like, yes, be a real homie. And so then I started reading my Bible. I made a vision board, and I wrote a prayer for my future husband. And then I just chilled, spent time with God, focused on grad school, watched Netflix, hung out with my friends. I wasn't trying to date anyone. I wasn't looking for anything. And so then I think it was like 6 months later when I like actually like noticed, or well, not so much noticed, when I started like being interested in Lawrence to start dating him. But it's like, I think when you focus on yourself, focus on your goals and your ambitions, you don't have time to be worried about relationships. And also, I think when you are happy and content with yourself, you're not looking to fill that gap with a relationship. So I think when you are content in your singleness, that's when you are a whole person, and that's when you can be ready to be in a relationship and be on the path towards marriage, because you know that basically you could thrive without it, but you want it.
Right. I think, like you were saying, you were a serial dater. I think a lot of times people are dating so much, looking for that one, looking for that person that they can spend their life with, that it's just kind of all that stuff is piling up within them and it's adding on to other stuff.
Yeah, I was just playing around.
Yeah. So, wow.
I wasn't looking for them. I was just like, I'm just gonna start dating people.
Right.
And I was just dating people. That's really what I wasn't looking to like be with any of them. I didn't see myself getting married. I was just like, I'm gonna date. Let's see how this goes.
Right.
And then I was like, I'm done dating.
I think we should be very cautious when it comes to dating. You know, you shouldn't try to talk to everybody that you're interested in. I think you should take your time, like maybe find 1 or 2 people that you really like interested in and go from there. I don't think people should hop from person to person to person, because every time they encounter a flaw or something wrong with that person, they're just all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
I only dated 3 guys total before Lawrence.
What do you consider dating?
The traditional sense of dating. You talk, you go on a couple of dates, you may kiss and hold hands and stuff like that. No sex relations.
Yeah, no sex.
That's not dating. That's extra. But no, I only dated 3 guys before Lawrence. And I say serial dater because I would be talking like 2 of them at the same time.
Right.
I was just playing around.
I don't think you should talk to a whole bunch of people too.
I don't either, because it gets tiring. How do you keep up? Some people be talking like a bunch of people.
Right.
That sounds like a full-time job and a half.
Kudos to y'all. Because I feel like maybe, like I said, just talking to those 1 or 2 people that you really are like feeling, that you really want to get to know better. Don't have nobody on the back burner just in case this one doesn't work out, because that just means you are
anticipating it to fail.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think like dating in the traditional sense, just talking to someone, getting to know them, going out on dates, hanging out. I feel like, I don't know, a lot of people be disagreeing on the sex thing, like when you should have sex with someone and when you shouldn't. You should. As a Christian, you shouldn't be fooling around with nobody that ain't your husband. But in the worldly sense, even if you sexually active and you like, well, I want to try out the goods before the marriage,
No.
you still should wait a while. Some people like, well, no, some people have sex on the first date and then they end up getting married. Cool. Some people do, never hear from that person again. But I think as a rule of thumb, you should wait a few months because you want to make sure you really get to know this person, that they worth the time having sex with. And also, sex leads to babies. So if you're going to have sex, don't have sex with nobody you don't have no baby by.
I know.
Because you're going to have to know this person.
Yes.
If you don't believe in terminating babies, don't be having sex with a lot of people.
And I also think with that sex thing is like, when you feel like that person is the one or is that person, you don't need to have sex to try them out. I think that if y'all really have that connection, that love, that bond, that sex is going to be good regardless of if you did it at the beginning or the end. You feel me? So I feel like in that aspect, you can wait till marriage, because when you have that person that you love, then the sex will not be disappointing. It won't be, you don't have to try it out.
And one of the benefits of waiting till marriage anyway is that you and your spouse get to learn each other. Which you like. You don't have any preconceived notions about sex, about what a man or a woman may like, because your spouse may not like what somebody else liked. And so you trying to try things on them that old girl or old boy liked, and they like, so it's like, it's best to just learn them. And it's like, it's more fun when you get to learn what each other are into.
Yes. Because you're going to get into that comparison thing. You wasn't like this person, you're not like that person. I don't like this sex with you. Now we're in this marriage and I want out of it because you're not.
Cause unnecessary conflict in your marriage.
Yes.
So when you don't have no expectations, then you can build up a pleasurable sex life with your spouse.
Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to be in this conversation. There you go.
That goes into relationships.
It does, though. They didn't talk about that at the panel, which I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't mention it. And I low-key, high-key wanted to ask the question. But you know how Christians get when they start talking about sex? They be like, oh, Lord, sex. But it's like, I mean, sex is God's gift to married couples. Like, and also, babies are made. So don't act like people don't be out here having sex. Because there's a lot of babies in this world.
Yes.
But Christians be scared to talk about sex. Don't be scared. We know y'all be doing
it.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of dating and sex, should Christians date online?
I don't like online dating. So I'm kind of biased in this aspect.
I ain't do it, so.
Me personally, I don't fool with that online dating stuff. I mean, one, there's catfishing.
Yeah. 2,
people are crazy. And 3, it's just like, you don't have that one-on-one, that intimate time with that person. A lot of the times it's just through text and stuff or over the phone. You feel me?
In a way, it's kind of like playing the lottery.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like a gamble of, are you gonna be the one or not? You know.
Yeah. I don't see anything wrong with online dating. And as a Christian, I mean, that's cool if you want to do it. As with anything, pray about it. Use your discernment. Ask God to lead you to the right people, to keep the right people out your inbox, out your DMs. I do think as Christians you should be extra cautious with online dating because a lot of people portray themselves one way online, as we all know. And so it's like you shouldn't be so quick to go on dates with people just because, you know, y'all matched up. You shouldn't also be so quick to like spend like deep quality time with that person. Like, I think you should slow it super down when you're online dating, more so than if you meet someone in person. Because my brother-in-law said that he doesn't do online dating because he can't feel someone's aura through the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so that's why he don't do it. He rather meet the person in person, which makes sense to like meet someone first to decide if you want to date them. Because if you spend months talking online, maybe not months, weeks, and then you finally meet this person and you like their aura's off, you like something about you, this ain't cutting it, you kind of wasted a little bit of time.
And I feel like when you encounter a person like physically, like in person, I feel like one, like you were saying, that aura where you can really catch the vibe, how that person is. And I also think as a Christian, that, you know, everybody, you know, can say they're Christian, but are they really God fearing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think if you meet somebody in person who as well as a Christian, you can kind of see how the relationship is with God and how they interact with other people. You can kind of watch what kind of person they are at the same time as you get to know them. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that in-person kind of interaction holds a lot more benefits than online.
Yep, I agree. Okay, so how much of your relationship should you share on social media?
Very little.
I agree. I think you should only share the highlights, honestly and truly. You know, the anniversaries, the birthdays, the engagements, things like that. We all know some people who didn't put their whole relationship on social media, and then when they break up, they want to delete pictures and not say nothing. Nah, keep that same energy. Let us know what happened with the breakup. And some people will let you know what happened. He cheated on me. He ain't no good. This, that, and the other. That's why his mama ain't nothing. People will do that.
Yeah.
And then some people will be like, they will be like all lovey-dovey, posting photos every single day, and all of a sudden you see no photos, and you start seeing lyrics from breakup songs. And so I think it's good to post photos here and there. With Lawrence and I post the highlights. I post, of course, anniversaries, birthdays. I'll post a random like male crush Mondays, things like that. But nah, I don't be on there every day, like daily selfies.
Yeah, that's extra.
And be like sub messaging on there.
Yeah, that's over the top.
You and your boyfriend been together for a long time, but you keep posting, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, and a man who gets married should leave his wife and leave his mother and cleave unto his wife. You trying to send out subliminal messages.
I think
that.
I think when it comes to social media, I just think like, hey y'all, I'm with this person, see you. I mean, and if you know y'all going to outing or something, you can post about your outing and stuff like that. I just think, I guess the private, intimate stuff should not be.
Yeah.
Especially if y'all are dealing with something, I wouldn't take that to social media too. I think that's where that line really gets drawn, where y'all are going through a situation, and instead of communicating and going to each other about it, y'all go to social media about it.
Yeah.
And you're putting everybody else in your business to validate your side.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to agree with me, so I'm gonna tell y'all the situation.
Yeah.
And that don't do nothing but create a bigger divide in your relationship.
Yeah, and on the same note, I don't think you should have your like sex or intimate moments on there either. People be taking like photos after sex or posting photos of their spouse like, you know, half naked and stuff like that, and I'm just like, that's not appropriate. Yeah, y'all don't have to put everything on social media. But on that same note, do you think people should make their relationships Facebook official?
But no.
Why not?
Facebook official? What does that even mean?
Some people be like, put it on Facebook so I know it's real. Like, real talk, this was like 5 years ago. It may not matter now, but 5 years ago, when Lawrence and I was dating, I'd be like, we was dating, we was real cute. I was like, can we make this Facebook official? And he was like, yes. And so I put it on Facebook. Marcia's in a relationship with Lawrence. But it may not, people probably don't care now. Yeah. But back in the day, being Facebook official was a cute little thing.
I don't think you need to make it Facebook official. They don't do nothing. Because you can make it Facebook official and then be broken up the next day. I mean, Facebook don't validate nothing.
Well, I mean, for some people, it's like, I legit was talking to this couple, and the girlfriend was a little bit salty that her boyfriend never posted her on his Instagram. He posts a lot of stuff. He posts their kid, but he didn't really post photos of her. So she felt some type of way about that. And some people do. They like, well, we together, and I post photos of you, but you don't post nothing of me. So some people may feel like you're trying to hide them. And so that's why some people make a big deal out of making it social media official.
But my thing is why do your followers need to know whether you're in a relationship or not? Especially a whole bunch of strangers that don't know you. That's not important.
Well, you know, also people be thinking that if they post their spouse, you know, they could like stave off the DM slides.
That don't stop nothing.
That's what people be thinking.
I mean, honestly, if you Dude, I honestly, it don't matter if I post you or not. You feel me? Because
Mm-hmm.
you know I love you. You know my family all knows you. My close friends all know you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that really matters is the people that's closest to us that know that you are in my life. Not a whole bunch of strangers on social media who just want to be nosy.
A lot of people put stalk into social media. I only did it back in the day. I did it because Lawrence was my first legit boyfriend.
Right.
So it was just like a cute little rite of passage.
Right.
But a lot of people put stock into their social media presence, and so they feel some type of way if you not posting about them like that. Lawrence don't post nothing, so I don't feel salty. He ain't posting nothing since 2016. I can't even be mad at that. I'm just like, well, I mean, you ain't posting nobody, so. But I post him occasionally, so.
Everybody know you his wife, and then you have to ask yourself, why do you want to be posted on social media? What appearance are you trying to give to those people on social media that you have to be posted? You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you. Okay, we getting a little down on time. Okay, so here's a good question from the panel that I want to talk about. So someone said, So what do you think about long-term relationships where couples agree to not legally get married? So some people, apparently the MC is a radio host for 91.7 Engine Radio, Marcus. And so he said he did a segment where he talked about how millennials are agreeing not to like legally get married, but they are agreeing to like spiritually get married or just be together forever. But they ain't talking about, signing on the dotted line or nothing like that. What do you think about that?
That doesn't even make sense. What is spiritually getting married?
Because people believe, like, according the Bible doesn't talk about having to go to the courthouse or get a marriage license. So they're like, well, why do I?
Common law.
Oh, common law. Oh, yeah, common law marriage if you live together long enough.
Yeah, basically common law. Yeah.
Honestly, you can't get married right without having a marriage license, right?
Legally, you need a marriage license. Like the state of Texas won't recognize you as being married without a marriage license. You can get married in a church without one, but it's just legally you won't be.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like, do you think people should go through the legal process?
Yeah.
Why?
Why should they go through the legal process?
Yeah, why do you think they should?
That's just traditional.
So, like, I get the idea that as a Christian, you're like, I mean, we just consummate this thing. We married, right? Because, I mean, as far as I know in the Bible, you have sex, you're married, right? You consummate your marriage. That's how God recognizes it.
What?
That's why you're not supposed to be fornicating.
So everybody got...
At least that's my interpretation. It may be wrong, but like the Bible doesn't talk about, as far as I read, I am not a theologist or a Bible scholar. So if you know, feel free to send me that scripture.
That don't make sense.
Because do you know of a scripture where it talks about a official ceremony for getting married in the Bible? I mean, David was like, Jezebel, I ain't sent your husband off to war. Come on in the castle, girl.
I don't know. I guess people just have to find it.
Yeah, because people were like, well, Adam and Eve didn't have no ceremony, so why should I? Like, people legit think about that. They're like, we just consummate this marriage. I mean, we had sex, we married. Or we got married in church, we married. Why do we have to get legally married? Which is, there are benefits in this country to get legally married. First of all, I mean, if you believe in it, there's a tax break. You legit get a tax break for being married. Also, if your spouse has any like beneficiary, like type of benefits, like life insurance policies, work benefits, or anything like that, military, and unless they're like a person to keep up on paperwork, when they die, you get all their benefits. Otherwise, if y'all aren't legally married, I don't know if this has changed, but if you're not legally married, then all their stuff goes to the next first of kin. Could be their mom or their kids, and you get nothing. So it's like there are legal benefits to being married, and it's also when you get a house or you get any kind of assets, you're more likely to get better rates and things like that when you're married. Like my car insurance went down because I'm married.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's literal benefits to being legally married, and then like people will request your marriage certificate and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I mean, there's benefits to it. Yeah, you could be spiritually married. You missing out on some things in this country. And I know for like black people, you know, we like to do our own thing. But like white people be out here getting married and they know the game.
They do.
Don't want to make it a black and white thing. But it's like, they make you sign that paperwork for a reason.
Yeah.
And if you're being smart about it, you will sign that paperwork and take advantage of all the benefits of being married. But if you don't want to, I mean, honestly, like, if you agree to be together forever, what's signing the paper?
Yeah.
What's the holdout? I get that some people, like, in our generation may have grown up in divorced families,
Mm-hmm.
broken homes, as people like to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so they associate that legal document
Mm-hmm.
as the cause of divorce or something.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to avoid that situation.
That's not avoidable though.
No, it's people.
Mm-hmm.
Not a paper don't make no difference.
Yeah.
It's people. Yeah. It's like, because a lot of people think that when they get married, oh, they gonna change. Oh, he's gonna change when we get married. He's gonna be better.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No.
The same person you're in a relationship with is gonna be the same person you're married to.
Yeah.
If you need a concrete example, people thought Donald Trump was gonna change once he became president. Same man who ran for president is the same man that is president.
Yeah.
Marriage is the same way.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody switching nothing up. If anything, they might get more comfortable and you see who they really are once they done locked you in.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's like if you already done made that agreement, go ahead and sign that dotted line. All right, so the next question is, how do you fight in marriage?
Communication. Meaning, let's not say the word fight, because let's say a disagreement or argument. It's not how do you fight, it's pretty much how do you communicate in your marriage. If I was listening to this podcast by this couple, 30 Minutes with the Perrys, and how they were saying that he was saying he's a verbal processor. He processes things and get things out by words, by communication. She's more of a mental processor. She kind of shuts down a little bit. That's you. I'm a verbal processor. So she thinks about it and everything, and he would take that as a form of she doesn't want to work it out and she doesn't want to do this and the third, and she's being selfish or prideful or something, whatever the case may be. And it's pretty much one, learning your spouse and how they communicate, and then y'all have to give each other the opportunity to say your piece or do what y'all need to do in that moment. One of the guys at the panel said y'all should definitely pray in a situation.
Yes.
Take that time. Y'all know y'all fighting, y'all having an argument, something's happening. Be like, okay, let's both just separate for right now, and we're gonna discuss this later. To each give y'all time to cool down, each give y'all time to gather y'all thoughts and what y'all want to say. That way, when y'all reconvene, y'all can talk like adults. Y'all can be mature.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, y'all are on the same team. So when you're heated, you're mad and upset, you're gonna say bashful things. You're gonna say hurtful things. Why would you want to down somebody who you're living with, somebody who you love? You know what I'm saying? So.
Like, honestly, so one, you should not be cussing out your spouse. You, of course, should not be abusing your spouse. That should never happen just because you're in an argument. If y'all cussing and fighting, something wrong. Y'all need to reevaluate this relationship, get help, but that should never happen, because that's basically, that's going to cause some ill effects in your relationship. That's being ill-mannered, right? Also, I am one of those people who are mental processor, and the reason I am is because it's like when you grow up around a lot of people who their default is to yell and scream, as you know, and I know, their default is to yell and scream and throw things. For me, I didn't want to be like that, and so in order for me, I'm trying to like control myself so that doesn't become my default. I shut down, and I go in my head because I'm trying to process my emotions. So I can make sure I say the right thing and not the wrong thing. And so I think it's good to, like, some people want to hash stuff out here and now. You know what? You getting on my nerves. You got to hear all of this. And that may not be the best part, because first of all, you don't want your spouse to feel attacked. Also, you don't want to say something you regret or say something in heat of anger you can't take back or you can't apologize for, because again, you don't know what that person has been through. One of the couples talked about that, how every time their spouse would do something, it would trigger something. And when you first learn a person, you don't know what their triggers are. So for the wife, when her husband would walk out, it triggered abandonment issues for her, because she remembered her father walking out. But for him, he's trying not to get overly heated or possibly violent, so he's walking out.
Right.
But she don't know that, so she's trying to settle it now, and he's trying to keep from lashing out from her, but they don't know each other's triggers yet.
Right.
And so it's like, I think it's good to pause. Yeah, you mad, but don't let your emotions control you. Pause so you don't ruin your marriage.
And another quick thing is, if you do get in a fight with your spouse, the guy was saying a lot of the goals in a fight or an argument is to win. Your goal is not to win the argument, be the loudest one, be the most heard one. Your goal is to listen to your spouse and find out what the issue is and figure out how y'all can reconcile this situation. If both of y'all are having a shouting match, neither one of y'all are hearing each other, and y'all are not listening, and y'all are getting nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. So the goal is not to win the argument. The goal is to figure out, okay, why are we arguing? What is the issue? How can we fix it?
Amen. That's the goal.
Yeah.
What are we fighting for? And how can we get past this?
And figure out for yourself, why do you think you need to cuss at them? Why do you think you need to yell at them? Why do you think you need to say hurtful things? I think self-reflection and self-thought is very important. When it's hard because you in that moment and you ready to go at it, but you gotta be like, you know what?
Because most likely if you cussing and you yelling and stuff, it's because you are having a hard time processing, or you feel hurt or attacked. And so you have to stop and pause and figure out, okay, what am I truly feeling? Why, when they said that, it made me immediately want to lash out? Like, it's not that what they said, is how I interpret it. So you got to evaluate that.
Yes.
All right, so our last question, I'm going to end on a nice note after that previous one, is it important to know your spouse's love language?
Yes, it's important to know your spouse's love language, because it's important to know pretty much how they want to be treated. I feel like that's what love language is. How does your spouse want to be treated? And what they said at the panel is pretty much how you can kind of start to get a hint of what your spouse's love language is the kind of things that they do for you. Buying you gifts, or telling you sweet little nothings, or taking you out, or whatever the case may be, is pretty much how they will want to be treated. So it's important to know, so you can have like a cohesive marriage. If you don't know your spouse's love language, it's gonna be a little hard for you to. Love language is like an unspoken expectation that you have for each other.
It's basically how you feel loved.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what a love language is. It's basically, like, we speak English, you know what I'm saying. So it's like, if you love me the way I love to be loved, then I know without a shadow of a doubt you love me.
Right.
So my love language is quality time. Do you know yours?
Fun.
Fun is not a love language, but it may be quality time. If you interpret doing stuff and hanging out with people as love, that's quality time. So if you didn't know, there's a book called The 5 Love Languages by, I think it's Gary Chapman. The 5 love languages are physical touch, which means you're very physically affectionate. Quality time, which means you like to spend good time with someone, physically in their presence, or a quality conversation, you like to talk to them. Then there's acts of service, when people do something for you, like clean up or go out of their way to do something for you without you asking. Acts of service, that makes you feel loved. Then there's gifts, the obvious one. Somebody buy you something, you're just like, oh my God. And then what? Words of affirmation. When people say positive things to you, compliment you, encourage you, you feel loved. So mine's quality time, and Lawrence's is physical touch. Which is funny because Lawrence is an introvert, so he likes to be by himself. And I don't like to be touched. But when you know your spouse's love language, which I think Lawrence and I do a good job of showing each other our love languages, because we know this. We learn this starting out in our marriage. When you know your spouse's love language, you actively work to show them you love them.
Right.
So I don't like being touched, but I make sure I'm affectionate with Lawrence so he knows I love him.
Right.
Going back to the fighting thing, Lawrence and I don't really fight. We have disagreements and stuff, but when I'm mad at him, do not touch me.
Mm-hmm.
But when he knows I'm mad at him, his default to show me he loves me is to touch me. And I literally don't want you to touch me. I'd be like, I don't say get off me, but I like tense up because I'm mad and you're touching me and I'm mad and I already don't like people touching me and I definitely don't want you touching me right now.
Right.
But he like, I'm sorry, and he want to hold me.
Right.
And so I can't be like, kill me, nigga. I gotta just be like,
yeah.
And then when he mad, he don't want to be around me. But then my love language is quality time, so I just want to be in your presence.
Right. I'm sorry.
And so, but when you know that, you act accordingly. So he makes sure to spend time with me, and like he didn't take certain jobs because he didn't want to be away from me, knowing that my love language is quality time.
So I think one, before you even get in a relationship or get married, figure out what your love language is. Because if you don't know what your love language is, you're going to have expectations of a person without realizing why you have those expectations. And if that person doesn't meet those expectations, you're upset or mad at them.
Yes.
Or you feel like they don't love you or whatever the case may be. So learn your love language, what it is. And then
tell them.
Yes.
Yes, because people be expecting people to know them, and people barely know themselves. They ain't trying to learn themselves and learn you. Talk, communicate, tell them. And so Lawrence and I did that. And you can also like notice, if you're an observant person, you'll eventually be like, I think this is your love language.
Right.
And you can test them out too. If you don't know your spouse's love language and you want to test it out, just start doing different things and see which one they respond to the most. Yeah. Buy them a gift one day, see how that. Lawrence don't care about gifts. We buy each other gifts for the holidays and stuff, but Lawrence be like, bet. But his mama and all his aunts, their love language is gifts. You buy them a gift, they feel love. They give gifts too.
So yeah, definitely learn. Back to that communication thing. Communication is so important in relationships. If you don't communicate what you want, what you would like to receive from that person, ask them what they want to receive from you. You're just going to spend a whole relationship guessing and assuming. And when they're mad at you, you're not going to understand. Or if y'all break up, you're just like, okay. You know what I'm saying? That's why communication is just, oh my gosh, communication is just so important in relationships.
And actually this goes for friendships too.
Yes.
It's good to know your friends' love languages. Brandy and I, this is kind of funny. We kind of figured this out. It wasn't like, we weren't consciously aware of it, but after the fact, we realized this is what happened. Because I kept asking Brandy to come visit me in Austin. I was like, come visit me. And she'd be like, because she drive for work. She'd be like, And she eventually came to visit me. We had a good time and everything. And like, we just hung out. Quality time, right? That's me. We spent like a couple of days together. I got all filled up in my love friendship tank. And then when she went home, it was just random. We were talking about how long we had been friends, which was 10 years. So then when she left and stuff, I happened to go to the mall and I bought her a gift from one of her favorite stores, Bed Bath & Beyond, and I sent it to her. And so when I sent it to her, she felt all love. And then we like thought about it after she got the gift. She was like, oh, your love language is quality time. So by me spending all that time with you, I want to reciprocate my love for her by buying her a gift.
Right.
Same thing goes for marriage and friendship. It's like when y'all love each other in the same language, you feel love and you show love. It's best. That's why you gotta talk. Yeah. All right. That's our last question. You have any last words?
I just think my top thing is when it comes to relationships, one, when you're young, don't jump into relationships. Don't learn break up and make up. Don't give yourself to a whole bunch of people, because when it comes time for you to get ready to settle down, it's going to be harder for you to translate what you really want, because you dealt with so many different people and so many different things. You kind of don't know what it is that you want for yourself in a relationship or what you want from another person. So I think it's good to have standards in a relationship. Kind of set standards for what you want. Like, outside of physical appearance, that's not important. Yes, you can have standards for that. But I mean,
don't let it be strict standards.
Yes, internal that's not soulful, internal standards, like what do you want how a person to treat you?
Yeah.
Characteristics, personality.
Yeah, physical traits should be a nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be real nice if he's 6'1", light skin and all of that, right?
But if he 5'8", but he treat me like a queen, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, so the personality traits should be must have. You know, treat their mama right, love the Lord, you know, intelligent or funny or honest and respectful, things like that, right? But, you know, height and skin tone and lip size, that should be nice to haves.
And so like I said, don't be so quick to jump in relationships. And my biggest thing is learn yourself first. Learn to love yourself first.
Love yourself, boo.
Before you get ready to give yourself and time and energy to another person, love yourself first. Pretty much treat yourself how you want somebody else to treat you. Yeah.
And the only thing I want to counteract that you said, I think it's cool to date because when you do date, you do learn what you don't like.
Okay.
So date in the traditional sense of dating. Talk to people, go out with them, learn people's personalities and see what you don't like and see how people treat you. Because it's like by me dating, I learn what I don't like, you know, and so that's something you do have to learn because you may not, a lot of people learn through experience. So not sexual experience, wholesome experiences. But if you want to do sexual, you know, bless your heart, we'll pray for you. Be careful, be safe.
Yes.
But otherwise, try to keep it, you know, PG-13. Nah, not PG-13 because nowadays, keep it PG. Because in that way, you can, you know, learn what you like in kind of a safe, not risque way. All right, peeps. Thank you for watching this episode. If you haven't, watch our previous episodes on YouTube or listen to them on all podcast platforms. I forgot the other part I was supposed to say. Oh, if you have any topic suggestions for us, you can email them to us at heysissypodcast@gmail.com or you can message us on Facebook and Instagram at Hey Sissy Podcast. Also, you know, feel free to send us comments about this episode or put it on YouTube. Thank you for watching.
All right, be breezy.